12 months ago, I made a video going over the best British drivers in the history of Formula One, a top 5 list of them, and it's so hard to narrow it down. For some countries that we cover, it's pretty easy to actually narrow these drivers down into a top 5, but with Britain, there have been 10 world champions from the UK over the decades in Formula One, so inevitably, some champions are going to miss out, and even some of those that didn't go on to win the world championship, they are also some of the all-time greats as well. So narrowing it down to 5 is incredibly difficult, but I'm going to go over this again for you guys with a bit of better production value, I hope, as well. I've just watched the video that I did 12 months ago, and yeah, we've definitely improved when it comes to that. We got better lights, we got better mics, and I like to think my presenting style is also markedly improved with a tinge of better editing in there as well, of course. The background music these days, nowhere near as loud as what it was. I don't know why I actually made it so loud back then. But anyway, let's go through it, guys. The best British Grand Prix drivers of all time. And we're going to start with one of the guys who never won the World Championship, but he's well regarded as being one of the greatest drivers to ever drive in Formula One, and without doubt, the best to never win the championship. Of course, I am referring to Sir Stirling Moss. Moss is a legend of motorsport. There can be no doubt. That is not hyperbole at all. He never won the World Championship, but he finished second overall in the Drivers' Championship on 4 occasions in a row between 1955 and 1958. In a lot of that time, it was the fact that he was going up against Juan Manuel Fangio between 55 and 57 that stopped him winning the world title. Fangio, without doubt, one of the GOATs, if not the GOAT of Formula One. In 1958, if things worked out ever so slightly differently, he would have won the World Championship. And what I mean by that is the fact that if he didn't stick up for Mike Hawthorne, his championship rival, he would have actually won the championship that year. Hawthorne got a penalty at what I believe was the Portuguese Grand Prix in 58, and Moss basically argued against his penalty, said no, he shouldn't have got a penalty for that, he should be reinstated, and he was, and he later went on to win the championship. One of the greatest marks of sportsmanship in the history of Formula One, and something that you would never ever see nowadays. Simple as that. It would just not happen. Absolutely not. Moss also finished third on 3 occasions as well between 59 and 61, retiring from Formula One after 1961 after a pretty severe crash in his Lotus. When you think of speed and you think of British racing, he's definitely one of the names that comes to the forefront, and he's rightfully regarded as one of the greatest drivers in the history of motorsport, without a doubt. Without a doubt, in my opinion. And that also does apply to Graeme Hill as well. Now, Hill won 2 championships in the 1960s, but I'm putting him a little higher up on this list than what a lot of other people would, just because of the fact that he's the only man to this day to win the Triple Crown of Motorsport, to win the Monaco Grand Prix in Formula One, the 24 Hours of Le Mans in endurance racing, and the Indianapolis 500 as well. Nobody to this day has managed that over 60 years on. I think that's an incredible feat in itself. And we also need to talk about how good of a driver, how good of a human being he was as well. The fact that he picked up the mantle from Jim Clark, his teammate, more on him very soon, don't worry about that, but the fact that he picked up the mantle and continued to race on in the Lotus team, winning the championship in 68 after his teammate passed away, I think that is absolutely incredible that he managed to do that. He raced in Formula One all the way until I think 1975, an extremely experienced driver, and you know, he would have still stuck around in Formula One because he was the owner of the Embassy Hill team at that time, but tragically in 1975 he passed away in a plane accident, as did most of the mechanics and crew for the Hill team, and yeah, they never got the chance to keep going. Really tragic end. But of course, his son later on, Damon Hill, would of course win the World Championship in 1996. But onto the podium now. Top 3. Who's making this? Well, I've got a certain Scotsman on the list here at number 3. It might be the one you're thinking of, it might not be, but it's Sir Jackie Stewart. Sir Jackie Stewart is an absolute legend of motorsport as well. Of that, there can be no doubt. He only competed in 9 seasons of Formula One between 1965 and 1973, but he won the championship 3 times, and he got a then record 27 Grand Prix victories by the time that he retired. He could have kept going, but the fact that his teammate Francois Sever tragically passed away at the United States Grand Prix at Watkins Glen in 1973 after Stewart had won his third world title. Basically made the decision for him. He wanted to get out of motorsport at that point because it was just too unsafe. Speaking of safety as well, you could argue that Sir Jackie's greatest legacy when it comes to motorsport is the fact that we have such good safety now. He was a key part of campaigning for better safety for the drivers and also the spectators and everybody involved in Formula One back in the 1960s after he had a near fatal crash at Spa-Francorchamps. And these days, fatalities in Formula One are almost unheard of. They are extremely rare. And that is no doubt down to the drive of people like Sir Jackie for better safety in motorsport. God bless you, sir. You really have saved dozens, if not hundreds of lives, without a doubt. Absolutely. Number 2 on the list. And now this is tough. You know, there's 2 guys. You already probably know who both of them are. And to separate them is so difficult in so many ways. And it pains me to put him at number 2. But again, this guy is without a doubt one of the GOAT contenders. Jim Clark, I'm putting at number 2. Now, some people have put him at number 1. Some people would say he's the greatest of all time, and I would not argue against that sentiment. Clark was absolutely incredible. He won 2 championships in the 1960s and did so in incredibly dominant fashion. In fact, I believe one of his championships, I think it was 1965, he actually scored the maximum allowable points, 100% of the points allowable at the time. Now, this was, of course, the days when certain races did drop off in terms of your points, not all of your points from every race was taken like it is nowadays, but still to manage that in the 1960s when these cars were incredibly unreliable is something to absolutely be admired. And the way that Clark drove cars was so smooth, so silky smooth, it just made the cars able to last much longer, and that made him so much more successful. But that's not to say that he was slow. He was absolutely rapid. His pole position record, his record when it comes to Grand Prix victory in terms of percentages, is almost unmatched to this day. Only the likes of Fangio got more pole positions if you look at it as a percentage. It is unbelievable what he managed to do. Clark was unbelievable. He's genuinely one of the GOATs without a doubt. And had he not passed away in that tragic accident at Hockenheim in 1968, I have no doubt that he would have gone on to win 3, 4, 5 world championships. He was that good. And Lotus, when he was there, was also that good as well. It was an incredible combination. Him in the car, Colin Chapman designing it. But yeah, tragically passed away in a Formula 2 accident in 1968. He could and should have gone on to achieve more without a doubt, but would he have achieved as much as Sir Lewis Hamilton in Formula 1? That is very much debatable for sure, but Hamilton I'm putting at number 1. Yes, he is not having the best season right now. Yes, his form over the last 3-4 seasons has not been the best either, but he's still won 7 world championships. In some people's eyes, he's won 8, but we're not going to get into that debate. Over 100 victories, over 100 pole positions, the most podiums in the history of the sport. He's an absolute legend, without a doubt. He has a part of the Silverstone Stir kit named after him. He is unbelievable. And yeah, maybe not at the peak of his powers right now, but you give him a winning car, a car that's designed around him next year for Ferrari, and watch him win. I'll say it now. I'm calling it. I'm saying it'll happen. If he gets that car, I think he can win the world championship without a doubt. You know, the way he dominated Formula 1 with Mercedes was absolutely incredible to watch. 6 world championships in 7 seasons between 2014 and 2020. Nobody could touch Hamilton. You put him in a winning car, he's unmatchable. There's only really Max Verstappen on the current grid that can really challenge him. I mean, people will say, oh, he's always had the best car, but even when he's not had the best car, he's pulled off incredible results. He managed to win in an absolute dog of a McLaren in 2009. He almost won the championship in his rookie season. He matched Fernando Alonso, one of the greats, one of the GOATs in my opinion, in his first ever season. Alonso at the peak of his powers as well, coming off of 2 world championships, the only 2 championships this day he's managed to win. He absolutely deserves to be on this list, and he deserves to be top in my opinion, but we'll see what happens, guys. I'm sure there'll be many debates in the comments below, but I'm going to give it to Hamilton just for the longevity and the success that he's had in the sport, and the impact he's had as well. The impact in Formula 1 he's had, you know, it's been absolutely mesmeric to watch. But who's your pick, guys? Who is the greatest British Grand Prix driver of all time? You could make a case for any of the 5 that I've said. You could even say someone like John Surtees, who of course is the only man to win on 2 and 4 wheels in terms of a world championship. In terms of an actual driver, you could argue he's better than the lot because he did it on 2 different disciplines, 2 completely different disciplines. But Your thoughts in the comments below are appreciated as always, guys, and let's hope for a fantastic British Grand Prix this weekend as well. Like, share, comment, subscribe if you want to see more, and have a great day wherever in the world today, and we'll see you very soon.